Well, hello and welcome to another video by Financial Ernie. On today's video, I'm going to be breaking down Bitcoin mining companies. We're going to be looking at the top 12 based off of the amount of Bitcoins mined in the month of September. Also, you're going to find the stock ticker symbol for each of these companies. So if you'd like to do some TA, look at some charts, look at some SEC filings, do some DD on each of these, you can. Just remember that none of this information is for investment purposes. This is just information only. You can find this information also on the investor relation pages for each of these companies, but I went ahead and added it all into this video for your information purpose. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off the list with number 12, this is Bit Digital. You can see the stock ticker symbol at BTBT. They mined a total of 51.5 Bitcoin in the month of September. Some of their highlights, I went ahead and boxed. You can see their amount of hash rate. They have 2.43 exahashes per second, and this is as of the end of the month there in September. They have a total amount of Bitcoin holdings at 731.3. They also hold Ethereum, but for the purpose of this video, we're really just focusing on the Bitcoin. Coming in at number 11 is HUT8. You can see their ticker symbol at HUT, and they have mined a total of 85 Bitcoin in the month of September. A couple other information I wanted to share would be the deployed hash rate. So they have 5.6 exahash per second, and then they have a total amount of Bitcoin on their balance sheet at 9,106. They have a total under management of their hash rate at 14.9 exahashes per second. And that's important if you think about it. They have other companies that they are hosting there where they're able to get a certain amount of revenue based off of what these companies are able to mine, but they don't have their own personnel there in terms of cost of operations. Really, it's just their equipment and access to the grid. So it's a pretty smart strategic move that some of these companies are doing. But let's go ahead and continue on this list. Coming in at number 10 on this list is HIVE Digital Technologies, $HIVE. And you can see they had a total of 112 Bitcoin mined in the month of September. Again, a couple things I highlighted was the 5.6 exahash per second that they have capacity for at their facilities. And then they have a total amount of holdings of 2,604 Bitcoin. There's some other information on each of these pages as well, but I just highlighted a couple of the ones that I think are important. At the very end of this, I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit more of my take on how all of this will become important and how it kind of ties into the price of Bitcoin. But let's go ahead and continue on. Coming in at number 9 is CIFR Mining. You can see $CIFR, and they had a total of 155 Bitcoins mined in the month of September. Again, I highlighted their Bitcoin holdings at 1,512, and then their exahash per second was at 9.3. Number 8 is BTDR, $BTDR. They had a total of Bitcoin mining in the month of September at 164, and then I highlighted their exahash rate at 17.1. I don't see any holdings, at least listed on this specific PR, so I wanted to go ahead and mention that some of these miners, as soon as they mine the Bitcoin, they're cashing in on that. They're not worried about the fluctuation in Bitcoin price, but other miners, they choose to hold their Bitcoin in a treasury. So there's good and bad for both of those scenarios. Of course, if the Bitcoin price goes down, then those miners that have been holding, their revenue is going to be going down. But at the same time, over a certain period of time, if the price of Bitcoin does increase, their revenue is increasing. Their cost of operations is not increasing at all, but what they're holding, their value that they bring at the end of the quarter is going to be much higher. It's going to help them take care of some of the general administration fees, as well as some other items outside of just the cost of revenue. Coming in at number 7 is TeraWulf. That is $WULF. WULF, and they had a total Bitcoin mining of 176 for the month of September. They have a hash rate capacity at 10 exahashes per second, and they averaged 8.2 exahashes per second in that same period of time. Each of these Bitcoin mining companies have slightly different strategies. They have to work with their power source. So whoever's generating that power, in TeraWulf's situation, they do use a couple of nuclear sites. So depending on the grid needs, they can decide to power off their equipment. They can get some energy credits for certain situations like that, and you'll see that on some of their earnings reports. But just wanted to point that out, that something else you should look at when you're looking at all these different companies, see what kind of strategies they have to help increase the cost and bring value to the investors. Coming in at number 6 is Bitfarms. It's $BITF. They mined a total of 217 Bitcoin in the month of September. You can see there that they sold 173. They had an operational capacity at 11.3 exahash per second, and they averaged 10.3 exahash per second. So again, you can see what they earned versus what they sold. So they do hold some of their Bitcoin, but they do take advantage of the pricing throughout the month to make those sales, and that does help them generate cash on the spot. Coming in at number 5 is Core Scientific. This is $CORZ. They mined a total of 345 Bitcoin in the month of September. You can see their energized hash rate, which would be their capacity, is 23.4 exahashes per second. And you can see that they sold a total of 370 Bitcoin in the month of September. So again, they mined 345 and they sold 370. So they may have been taking advantage of some of the price fluctuations throughout the month. Coming in at number 4 is IREN, and this company has $IREN, and they mine a total of 347 Bitcoin in the month of September. Some of the key points that I highlighted here would be their total capacity at 21 exahashes per second. And you can see their average operating hash rate at 16.5 exahashes per second. You can see they actually post their total revenue earned in the month of September at 61.6 million. And then they have their electricity costs as well shared month over month, and that is 23.6 million. So I think that that's really important as well. Some of these companies do have transparency as far as what the cost of operations are, even on just their monthly PR, their press releases, while others will wait until their earnings release to share some of that information. So they also shared some of their forward-looking statements. You can see where they're sitting at their 21 exahashes per second currently, and then what their plan is for Q4. They're trying to get to 31 exahashes per second, and then by end of 2025 be at 50 exahashes per second. And coming in third place is Riot, $RIOT. And they mine a total of 412 Bitcoin in the month of September. You can see their Bitcoin holdings at 10,427. You can see their deployed or their capacity hash rate at 28.2 exahashes per second. You can see their average hash rate at 19.5 exahashes per second. So just some additional information. I didn't box, but if you'd like to take a look at some of their power credits that they do have, again, if they are shutting down at certain times to help stabilize the grid, some of these companies do receive some credits back for those types of situations. So they make money not only by mining Bitcoin, but also working with their power providers. And at number 2 is CleanSpark. This is $CLSK. They mined a total of 493 Bitcoin in the month of September. Some of their highlighted metrics would be a total holding of 8,049 at the end of September, and they had a month-end operating hash rate at 27.6 exahashes per second. You also would have seen a video I put out recently that shared that they reached 30 exahashes per second capacity this month in October, but this was how they finished off the month of September. And coming in number 1 is Mara. This is $MARA. They mined a total of 705 Bitcoin in the month of September. They have an energized hash rate at 36.9 exahash per second, and they have a total unrestricted holding of 26,842 Bitcoin as of the end of September. All right, folks, I hope you really enjoyed taking a look at the top 12 companies in terms of the amount of Bitcoin mined in the month of September. If you did, please consider giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel. Go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Did I leave out any Bitcoin mining companies? Did you want to hear some more information on a certain one? Love to hear that. But as I did mention, I wanted to go ahead and dig a little bit deeper in my thoughts on how the Bitcoin mining is really going to make an impact as this price kind of changes. So as I did discuss, you can definitely take a look at what each one of these companies are mining. Some of them choose to hold their Bitcoin mining amounts. Now, again, if the price of Bitcoin does end up jumping up, by 10, 15%, that means their revenue for the amount they mine is going to jump by that much. The cost of operations, the cost of mining those Bitcoin does not change. So that does end up netting them some additional revenue for that specific quarter if they do choose to sell some of their Bitcoin. A couple other things just to take into account, that a lot of these companies, if you do look at their balance sheets, you look at the amount of revenue they generate based off of mining, you look at the cost of that revenue, so the actual Bitcoin miners, the power consumption, you look at all that, and a lot of them you will find a positive profit line. Now, if you continue looking further down, you're going to see there's other costs of operations. So if you think about the general administration line item, and then a few others, so there's also some depreciation line items. So a lot of these companies, they actually have a total cost of operations to where they're netting negative. So they're not necessarily turning a profit, and that's really based off of the current price of Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin price continues to increase, they are going to be coming closer and closer to netting an actual positive profit overall. Which would actually be, I should call it a positive cash flow. And that's obviously the intent for all of these companies, is to be able to get that positive free cash flow. And then that will allow them to go ahead and make further investments without needing to really touch the customers or the company's stock. And you will see that some of the companies, as they get closer and closer to that free cash flow positive accomplishment, they are talking about what are they going to do with that money? Are they going to buy back some of the stock that they had issued? Are they going to provide a dividend for customers, or for investors, I should say? So it's very interesting, a very interesting dynamic if you think about it. A lot of other, if you look at the other industries, the revenue amount really doesn't fluctuate. It's not there. It's not that volatile if you think about it. If you're talking about the price of a vehicle, if you're talking about any other price of goods, typically you don't have a crazy swing of valuation like you do here when it comes to cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin. So just thought I'd share that with you all. That's just my thoughts. Let me know again what you think about that, and I'll leave you with that. Hope you guys all have a great rest of the day. Hope you have a great week, and I'll see you on the next one.